tuning in. I'm Mrs. T. This week, our message is about fairness. What is fairness? Webster's dictionary defines fairness as fair and impartial treatment and lack of favoritism toward one side or another. When we break it down so that even common folk like me and you can understand it, fairness means being given the same opportunity as someone who may or may not be in the same race, class, gender, or social status as I am. For this purpose, we are excluding race because it is a topic that touches very deep, and we want to remain focused on the message. So let us move on. When we talk about fairness in opportunity, one example which comes to mind is when a female and a male both apply for the same job, but the male is chosen because of his gender. If there are two positions and both qualify and get the job, it is highly likely that the male will be paid up to 30% more than his female counterpart. Why is this so if both individuals have similar qualifications and experience? We understand that society has grown leaps to close this gap, but sadly, it still exists. More needs to be done to fix this issue so that the playing field is always fair. People in different classes and statuses suffer many acts of ill favor. For example, a person who is connected to a privileged family is likely to get better scholarships for university, better job opportunities, and better housing. Not because they have worked for it, but that they are favored because of their connections or statuses. Someone whose family is not privileged will rarely be considered for such opportunities because they are not connected. Can you imagine? You've worked hard to get good grades, apply for a scholarship, and someone who can afford to pay for university calls in a favor and snatches that opportunity right from you. This happens more often than you know, and it can be very frustrating to the individual who's lost out. A scholarship for someone who does not have the financial means to pay for university can be life-changing. Nowadays, many people are struggling to make ends meet on a salaried job. Some find a niche and venture into entrepreneurship. They take this idea to the bank, seeking funding to develop it. The officer at the bank looks at them and say, "Hey, who does this person think they are?" They make them provide mountains of documents and turn them around and around. Then they get them so frustrated that the person sometimes walks away, or in some cases, abandon their ideas altogether. On the flip side, a person whom the bank considers connected or of a certain status will have no problem getting funding from the bank. They will not have to provide much information and will not be turned around and around to be frustrated. It does not matter how long you have had a relationship with the bank, nor how great your record was. When common folk like me and you approach the bank for funding of any kind, they lump us into a certain category. This is unfair. People of status, connection, and who are financially stable will never have issues getting funding from a bank. Only those who truly need it will have issues. Why would anyone who is not financially stable approach the bank for money? Because they need it, of course. Duh. Let's move on. In my earlier years, I applied for numerous jobs within the government and was called on numerous interviews. Never getting chosen, I would soon learn that jobs were given to political supporters, friends, family, and lovers. It is shameful and speaks volumes of why so many organizations today have such poor customer service. I do not know how long it is going to take for people to learn that when you hire people you sleep with, it makes it impossible to supervise them. How dare you tell me what to do on this job when you were in my bed last night? Are you serious? Favor for family, favor for friend, favor for lover means nothing gets done, baby. When productivity is down, income drops, and corruption has its breeding ground. Just to be clear, there are a lot of people out there in this world that thrive on unfair battlegrounds. These people will go as far as greasing the hands of one or a few individuals if they need to keep, for example, common people like you, like me, from elevating themselves to their level. How dare you think that you can have what I have? You will be surprised, and I can tell you stories upon stories. One of the ways we can fight the lack of fairness is to speak out against it. We can also address it directly. We must learn where to speak up, when to speak up, and how to address it so that it makes the impact that is required to stomp out unfairness. People get stressed, depressed, and some even commit suicide when they feel they have been treated unfairly. Also, when we begin to follow the rules and policies we have put in place, it sets the pace for fairness and efficiency by allowing nature to take its course without the negative interruption of man. If we can begin to do this, then this world would become a better place. That brings me to the end of this message. Short and sweet. I hope it helps someone in some small way. You're welcome to send questions about the topic, and the question which appeals most to our audience will be answered at the top of the next message. Please subscribe so you never miss another message that might be destined for your ears. Remember, all people have value. I'm Mrs. T.